Furthermore, once regarded as one of the fastest growing economy in Africa and beyond, is mired with rampant ethnic conflicts throughout the country. A record high number of people in need of emergency food assistance. The toll of genocidal war waged against its own people. The thriving economy has tanked. Its foreign currency depleted with seemingly uncontrollable corruptions and misappropriations. Unfortunately, this becoming the features of the current Ethiopia. For the first time in the country's history, the regime in power has masterminded, conspired with an enemy, and invited foreign forces to massacre and commit genocide on its own people, whilst decimating infrastructures and exploiting its resources. As it stands, Ethiopia has significantly deteriorated political, social, and economic situation that is leading the country down a path of disintegration. Tensions throughout the country have been exacerbated by the autocratic rule of Abiy Ahmed, who aims to undermine the multinational federal structure and the constitution of Ethiopia to consolidate his power, thereby dragging Ethiopia to the verge of impulsion. We are witnessing an unstable Ethiopia on the verge of collapse with apparent negative consequences not only to itself but also with the serious security implications to the region, to the larger East Africa, Red Sea, and the entire continent and beyond. Ethiopia is a country of over 115 million. If allowed to fail, it shall be of grave concern to all our partners, potentially triggering alarm over the country's current trajectory. In addition to this, following the regime's heavy defeat, sustaining in all battlefront, its administrative structures, both at the federal and regional levels, are evidently crumbling. As a response to the myriad of crises facing the various nations of the country and to reverse the harmful effects of Abiy Ahmed's autocratic rule to our peoples and beyond, we have recognized the urgent need to collaborate and join our forces towards a safe transition in the country. Hence, have established the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces. The United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces is aligned our collective will towards unified struggle for democracy, equality, and self-determination that benefits us all mutually. We have agreed, among other things, to establish a joint command responsible for all-round engagement and to work jointly towards an all-inclusive national dialogues and the establishment of transitional arrangement with the view of addressing the political crisis affecting the country. Additionally, we have agreed to synchronize and share our human and material resources as is required to expedite the struggle against the tyrannical regime, and to jointly work in apprehending and bringing to justice those officials of the regime and its collaborators in the gross human rights violations and genocidal crimes. The United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Force sees this opportunity to urge all Ethiopians and all peace-loving people to categorically denounce repeated calls by the regime and its operatives for a wholesome war between the Ethiopian people. We further take this opportunity to critically occasions to critical occasion to condemn in the strong possible terms the concerted social media campaigns against the specific ethnic group, predominantly Tigray, and generally Benishangul Gumuz, Oromo, Command, and Agaw in Ethiopia. We reiterate our position that we do not recognize the illegally constituted government by the self-acclaimed Prosperity Party based on sham election to which the main opposition parties in Ethiopia were denied participation. Equally, the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces categorically reject and shall consider it null any attempt to temper the existing constitution in any form or shape. Therefore, we call upon all the Federalist and Confederalist forces in Ethiopia to join the front, whose core goal is clearly stated and benefits the entire nations and peoples in Ethiopia. Finally, the front extends the highest appreciation and gratitude to Hibr Ethiopia for taking initiative to bring the parties to one platform. The members of this front are Afar Revolutionary Democratic Unity Front. I can repeat it. Afar Revolutionary Democratic Unity Front, Agaw Democratic Movement, Benishangul People's Liberation Movement, Gambella People's Liberation Army, Global Command People Right and Justice Movement, Command Democratic Party, Oromo Liberation Front, Oromo Liberation Army, Sidama National Liberation Front, Somali State Resistance, and Tigray People's Liberation Front. Thank you.
Next, we'll have a signing ceremony. Thank you.
Press to the right, please. Yeah.
Okay, next we'll hold a session for question and answer for media only. Thank you. If you have any question, please.
Hi there. I don't have a microphone, but can you talk a little bit about your plan of action, what you intend to do next? Do you have like specific action plans? Like, are you thinking about launching operations towards any particular city in Ethiopia? And do you have any plans beyond that, like in terms of what kind of a political transition you're envisioning?
Okay, maybe Mr. Admasi, you want to answer that? Yeah. Okay.
Also, could you please state your names and the spelling of the names so we're making sure we're quoting everybody accurately?
And the group you're
Yes, please.
The first step we have to take is to sign an agreement with all the fronts, recognizing the problem and the widespread situation and the genocide. And the next step would be to reorganize ourselves and totally dismantle the existing government, either by force or by negotiation, whatever they wish, and then settle transitional government as soon as possible. That's my... My name is Mahmoud Ugas. I'm from Somali States Force.
Mahmoud, M-A-H-M-O-U-D, and your last name, sir?
Ugas, U-G-A-S.
And sir, you said that you would be the aim is to totally dismantle by diplomacy or by force. Could you talk a little bit more about the lengths of force that this group is willing or prepared to launch? What does that mean, force?
Well, by force means if the government doesn't negotiate and accept the offer the international community and the fronts are offering, then we definitely use any kind of force that we can dismantle. And it's already been outrooted from where they were. So there's no federal arm, and the whole the community in 110 million is with these groups you see, and things will be smoothly going on. There will not be any force at all.
I'm sorry, you just said there will not be force or there will be force?
Well, the current situation in Ethiopia is so weak. They don't have federal arms, and the struggle has been going on for the last 1 year, and there's no way they can fight against the front, because 110 million people abused are supporting the group.
I see. So you're saying that the federal
Just,
forces
yeah.
do not have the strength to take on the force that your groups with 110 million people are prepared to bring. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just implement it right?
Maybe I should compliment. Definitely.
State your name.
My name is Berhane, B-E-R-H-A-N-E. My second name is G-E-B-R-E, then C-H-R-I-S-T-O-S. Berhane Gabrek. Okay. It's okay. I think you can hear me. I'm from Tigray. As you know, the Abiy regime has conducted open door against the Ethiopian peoples. There is war in Tigray, which I don't have to describe. All of you, I'm sure, know how it is going. You know that there is war in Oromia, in Benishangul, in different parts of the country. Country is engulfed with civil war, launched mainly by the Abiy regime. So we all are forced to defend ourselves. There is genocide taking place, and we are trying to relieve our peoples and ourselves from genocide. This is what's taking place today. So definitely peoples in Ethiopia are resisting. People in Ethiopia are in self-defense. This will continue until the regime accepts a peaceful path. As you all know, the world, the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, Africans, neighbors in the Horn of Africa, in IGAD, everybody tried to persuade Prime Minister Abiy to accept a peaceful path. As you all know, Ambassador Jeff Feltman has been traveling to Ethiopia many times, putting aside his efforts on phone conversations and so on. And all his appeals had been rejected and have been rejected. I don't know what outcome there will be, because he's still in Addis today. So so what I can say is Abiy regime is pursuing the path of war. To this effect, definitely we in the United Front and others are trying to have a change in Ethiopia, so that Ethiopia could stabilize and the region could stabilize.
May I ask?
Yes, please.
I went to the New York Times. Is this group preparing to take Addis Ababa by force if necessary?
What we are going to do is definitely, where will be the limit? The limit, there is no limit for us, because the Abiy regime, as you all know, is trying to mobilize millions of peoples to fight against all of us. People, I'm not referring to armies. The intention is to mobilize millions of farmers to drive the nation into terrible bloodbaths. So definitely we'll defend and will try to get rid of Abiy government.
Can you clarify that all 9 conflict groups have fighters, and that who will join forces on the battlefield and the goal is to overthrow the government of Mr. Abiy Ahmed, or if you're ready to share power with him?
Well, as he has consistently rejected, and as he has consistently waging war on our peoples, we're forced to defend ourselves and will continue until that day. Unfortunately, time is running out. There is no much time for him to deliver things that he should deliver before going to negotiations. He was supposed to lift blockades that he has put in some regions, not only in Tigray, but in other regions as well. He's been asked to allow humanitarian assistance. So many questions, as you might know. So he's refused that. And now I think there's no much time for him to deliver on this. And he has no will to deliver on this too. So definitely we'll try to have a change in Ethiopia before Ethiopia implodes and affects the region. Not only Ethiopia would be affected, but the region as a whole would be in disaster. So we have to try to ameliorate this situation. We have to bring, the terrible, disastrous humanitarian situation that's building up in Ethiopia to its, to calm down, or to bring it to certain limits. Level.
Without the current Prime Minister?
Pardon?
A change without the current Prime Minister?
Obviously.
And can you answer if all the 9 groups have fighters who will join?
Yes.
Armed groups?
Yes. They do.
Sir, can you also clarify the question from my colleague about you moving towards Addis? Do you have like a specific plan for this, you're saying?
As it was read in the statement, what we have is we are establishing a coordinating command that would coordinate our activities. So in different forums or sectors, be it in terms of military, in terms of political, in terms of everything, amongst our parties, we're cooperating in all areas with no limits.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from the international community for this coordination so far?
The international community is so much worried with the stability of the region, the stability of Ethiopia, and the imminent implosion of Ethiopia. I think this is going to give relief to the Ethiopian people, to the region, and to the world. So the international community would be forthcoming and supportive of this, of peacefully, relatively bringing peace into Ethiopia. Our intention is to remove the regime and have an all-inclusive political process where every political party would take part in that process to form a transitional arrangement. Within the transitional arrangement, we're hoping that major problems of Ethiopia would be addressed. So we are not here to form a government. We are here to form a united front, to coordinate our activities, so that we would bring a condition where all political parties, without any sort of exclusion, would come together and form a transitional arrangement. So we are not looking into establishing of our own government, but what we are trying to do is create the conditions for every political party to come to the process of forming a transitional arrangement.
But you've also just talked about your plans for a military offensive to Addis. That's not going to be very peaceful. So do you think the international community will throw its support behind that? That's just going to make the humanitarian situation and everything on the ground just much worse.
Yeah.
Do you think you will have support from the international community on that?
No, what we are trying to do is, I think I have to explain this. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to bring an end to all the chaos that are taking place in Ethiopia. The blockade of humanitarian assistance, the expansion of the war, the suffering that our people are facing. We are trying to bring that to an end. The sooner the better, because imminent we have a situation where it's dangerous, where Ethiopia could implode. So we have to bring that to an end. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to rescue the situation, create an atmosphere of ending this process peacefully through an all-inclusive political process.
I think just to
Okay,
clarify
last one, I guess.
because
Okay,
I appreciate
please.
You want us to walk out of here understanding.
No.
the intent here. You're saying on the one hand that you want to create conditions for peaceful transition of government, and on the other hand, if that must be done by force to make Prime Minister Abiy leave, you can understand why we're a little confused.
Okay, you've made it very clear. Let me try to explain myself. Well, ourselves. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to bring an end to this terrible situation in Ethiopia, which is created single-handedly by the Abiy administration. So we begged so much for a peaceful ending this conflict, this disastrous humanitarian situation peacefully. The world appealed to, as I said, everybody. Abiy refused. So, and at the same time, he continued the war. He tried to mobilize millions of people into his army. He lost his army, the defense forces, but trying to mobilize people. He was importing billions and billions worth of armaments from different countries, as you all know. So we couldn't see an end to this terrible situation. So we are forced to curb this. That's what I'm trying to say. Because the world couldn't do it. Our appeal couldn't have an impact. And we're left with one option: changing the situation. Otherwise, we all be massacred. Because genocide is taking place in Ethiopia. So we have to stop it. We have no option. And the world has said, as you all know, the world said, never again before. What is that never again in the 21st century? And it has to come to an end. So we are forced to act. But in acting, our all intention is to bring peace to an end. I mean, peace to be realized. Thank you.
So you're making this announcement from Washington, D.C., while the U.S. envoy is in Addis Ababa right now, Jeffrey Feltman, trying to negotiate a ceasefire. What kind of message are you sending to the administration by announcing this today while they're over there trying to negotiate peace? And what do you think generally of the U.S. approach here? Do you think they're wrong to even try to negotiate?
Please, your name and your affiliation.
Yeah. Okay, let me take out this one. My name is Okok. I'm representing Gambela People Liberation Army. We have come as a united front of Ethiopia Federalist and Confederalist forces with the aim to make an history in Ethiopia Ethiopia has been centralized for years. And this is a reverse to that one. We need more devolution to the people of Ethiopia in order to stop the historical bloodshed in the country. I am from Gambela. We have been experiencing genocidal killings, not by the outsiders, but by the centralized Ethiopian regimes for years. I've signed, or I'm obliged to sign for our freedom, with the sense that we are going to work for confederation for our state. That means we need maximum autonomy for our regions. Our priority for my region is security for our people. We need to secure our people by our own defense forces. We are here as federalists and confederalists. Gambela and Benishangul, our priority is for confederation. Why we have opted for confederation for our region, especially for the southwest of Ethiopia? We have more than 30 tribes. We have been recognized as citizens in the country. There is a racism in the country, systematic racism. The central government always look for the resources, not the people. And we want to bring the priority to address the needs of our people. There is a big gap between poor and rich in the country. We want to bring that gap closer. So as a nation, we are fighting for equality. We need to respect humanity. Every human being has to be respected, despite of the colors. Ethiopia has been doing this, has been carried out a systematic racism in the country, almost like apartheid in South Africa. But this is a time where we need to recognize every human being in the country. The war that has been launched by the Tigrayan people, they didn't do it out of blue. They are defending their self-determination, not to go back to the previous regime that has been eliminating others and favoring very few people. So we appreciate what the Tigrayan has done in this war. We appreciate that they encourage our regions to fight for their own freedom. So this is a call for more devolution in the country. So everyone will exercise the freedom, the humanity, the equality, and we need to enjoy the security. We need to enjoy the freedom. For the Gambela people, for the Benishangul people, for the South Omo people, I think this will make an historical trend where we have people who have been crying before God for their own freedom. They've been killed like dogs. They have been segregated. The resources have been plundered by the predatory governments. This is a time for them to enjoy their development with freedom. So the war that has been launched in Tigray is not only for the Tigray. We are going to work to free our people, the whole nation. So it should be uploaded by all the 83 tribes in the country, in Ethiopia. Our message for that one, for the Ethiopians. You don't need to fight for the government that centralize the system, that bring back the domination in the country in the past. They should not fight for Abiy, because Abiy is centralizing the country. We are going in opposite way. We are defending the existing constitution. In that constitution, there is an Article 39 that says succession is, self-determination up to successions. But Abiy is going to abolish that Article 39. We want to improve that Article 39 to make it a reality in the life of people. So our message to Ethiopians, you don't need to fight for the government then that bring you back to the slavery, that bring you back to domination, to benefit the few. This is a freedom for all of you 33 tribes in Ethiopia. We are calling you to unite with us so we can enjoy freedom in our country. Thank you.
So you're with, who are you with?
It's Gambela People Liberation Army.
So what is your message to the Biden administration? Do you think they're wrong to try to hold these ceasefire negotiations? Are we past that point? Is that your message today?
Yeah, our message to Biden, we are Ethiopian fighting to bring real democracy in the country. So United States is a very good country for a democracy, and democracy has been born in this country. Since we are fighting for real democracy in Ethiopia, I think the Biden government has to unite with us. They have to stand behind us. They have to support us in every direction that we go. There is more to do to bring what we want to a reality. So we call the American government to stand with us so we can bring real change in the country. We will bring peace to Ethiopia and stop this bloodshedding all the years. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we end the session of answer and question. Thank you.
End of the program.
Huh?
End of the program.
Okay, so this is the end of the program also. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Excellent. I'm sorry, no, I can take.
Foto tenisi yalan.
Photo.
And
Determined to advance to Addis.
If the regime is failing